All right, let's jump right in. Forget all the hype and the crazy speculation you might have seen online. Today, we're going straight to the source to decode the official blueprint for 6G. This is the actual plan that's going to define our connected world in the 2030s and beyond. So let's think about this for a second. 5G is already connecting pretty much everything: our phones, our cars, whole factories, entire cities. So the big question is, what could possibly be next? What comes after you've connected everything? Well, the answer isn't just about connecting more things, it's about making those connections a whole lot smarter. And look, this isn't just some tech blog's wild gas. We're diving right into the official technical report from the 3GPP. That's the global organization that gave us the standards for 3G, 4G, and 5G. This document right here, this is the actual roadmap that engineers and companies all over the world are going to use to build our future. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the big picture vision for 6G. Then, and this is important, we'll see how it's really an evolution of 5G. After that, we'll get to the really futuristic stuff, the brand new frontiers of AI and sensing. And finally, we'll tie it all together and see how this is going to power the world of the 2030s. Okay, so what is the grand vision for 6G? It's really not just about making tech for the sake of tech. The blueprint makes it super clear that the goals are all about tackling major societal challenges that we're all going to be facing in the coming decades. And what's really telling is the language they use right in the official goal. It's not all about faster downloads or lower latency. Look at the keywords here: secure, resilient, sustainable. This shows a huge shift in focus, from just raw performance to creating real, holistic value for society as a whole. So how do we actually build this thing? You might think a new G means we just scrap everything and start over, right? Well, not exactly. 6G is actually designed to be a really smart evolution, building on the 5G foundation that's already out there today. This breaks it down perfectly. Over on the left, you've got the core services that are basically just carried right over from 5G. Things like mission-critical communications for first responders, and even basic SMS. But on the right, that's where it gets interesting. These are the key 5G features that 6G is going to supercharge. Take network slicing, for example. That's 5G's ability to create little private highways on the network for specific uses. Well, in 6G, that becomes way more dynamic, way more automated. And this idea of backwards compatibility, it's absolutely crucial. The whole point is to make the migration as smooth as possible, so we don't have this massive disruptive break. In other words, your 5G phone isn't going to turn into a brick the day 6G officially launches. Let's dig a little deeper into one of those big enhancements: resilience. This is a huge focus for 6G. We're talking about building a network that can withstand serious problems. Imagine a network that can literally heal itself when something breaks, or one that can be deployed on demand after a natural disaster to get communications back up and running in minutes, not days. That's the goal here. All right, this is where things get really futuristic. Beyond just improving what 5G can do, 6G is introducing two completely new capabilities that are going to change the game. This is where we stop talking about just communication and start talking about truly intelligent infrastructure. It really boils down to two huge leaps forward. First, artificial intelligence is no longer just an app you run on the network. It's going to be a native service provided by the network. And second, the network itself is going to gain a whole new sense: the ability to use its own signals to understand the physical world around it. So how do they do this? It's with something called a service hosting environment. Now, that sounds super technical, but the easiest way to picture it is like a distributed brain that's embedded across the entire network. It gives the network the power to run AI models and complex apps right there inside the infrastructure, bringing that intelligence way closer to you for maximum speed. So what can you actually do with a network that thinks? Well, for one, the network can use that AI to optimize itself in real time. It can offer compute as a service to developers, or even fire up AI agents to help out autonomous machines. It could even predict what your video call needs to make sure it never, ever stutters. AI basically becomes a fundamental utility, just like electricity. Okay, leap number 2 is just as mind-bending. It's called Integrated Sensing and Communication, or ISA. Right now, our networks use radio signals just to send and receive data. But with ISAC, the network can also analyze how those same signals bounce off of things in the real world. It's like giving the entire network a new sense, kind of like a bat using sonar to see the world. Think about what this means in the real world. A sensing network could track a drone with incredible precision. It could create a live 3D digital twin of your city. It could give firefighters a map of the inside of a burning building or help a self-driving car see around a blind corner. The possibilities are just incredible. So, what happens when you combine a network that can think with a network that can sense? Well, let's take a peek at the kinds of use cases these new powers are going to unlock. And we're talking about so much more than just a slightly better VR headset. 6G is being designed for truly immersive shared digital realities. Imagine a classroom where a student can beam in as a photorealistic hologram and actually interact with the physical room and the other students like they were really there. That's the promise. By putting native AI and sensing together, 6G will let autonomous machines work together in these incredibly sophisticated coordinated swarms. Picture teams of drones mapping a disaster zone in real time, or robots that reconfigure an entire factory floor on the fly, all orchestrated by the network itself. 6G also has a huge goal to finally close the digital divide. The idea is to seamlessly weave together ground-based towers, satellites, and high-altitude platforms into one single unified network. This could bring real high-speed internet to remote villages, to planes in mid-flight, and ships out at sea, connecting absolutely everywhere. And this is where you can really see the human impact. In healthcare, 6G could power tiny sensors that monitor a patient at home, and then use the network's AI to predict a health crisis before it even happens. It could enable remote robotic surgery with almost zero delay, making expert medical care available to literally anyone, anywhere. So, when is all this actually happening? Well, it's not a light switch. The very first deployments are expected around 2030. And they'll introduce these early AI and sensing capabilities. By the middle of the decade, around 2035, we could see these intelligent autonomous systems become widespread. And by 2040, these fully immersive sensing networks might just be a normal part of our daily lives. So we kind of come full circle. 6G isn't just about connecting more things, it's about connecting things smarter. The plan is to literally fuse our digital and physical worlds into one intelligent platform, which, leaves us with the most important question of all. When our network can think and sense and reach everywhere, what are we going to build with it?